What if I told you that a recently leaked contract connected to Little People, Big World has sent shockwaves through fans everywhere? A document that, on the surface, seemed like routine business suddenly revealed a clause so startling, so deeply personal, that it's now being called heartbreaking by longtime viewers of the show. This isn't just about money, land, or even the show itself. It's about the Roloff grandchildren, the very heart of the Roloff legacy. For years, fans have watched these kids grow up before their eyes, from the tender moments of their first steps to the joy-filled family gatherings on Roloff Farms. They represent the future of a family whose story has captured the world's attention for nearly 2 decades. But this newly uncovered detail has many asking, why would such a clause even exist, and what does it mean for the children who have become beloved figures to millions? Could this reveal tensions behind the scenes, or perhaps hidden concerns that viewers never knew about? Fans are reeling, and emotions are running high. After all, the grandchildren aren't just cast members. They are the living reminder of everything that started with Matt and Amy Roloff's dream of building a family together on Roloff Farms. And now, with this clause coming to light, the question is no longer just about a reality TV contract. It's about the emotional core of the Roloff story. In this video, we'll unpack exactly what this contract says, why it's being called so devastating, and what it could mean for the Roloff grandchildren moving forward. Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. For Roloff family latest news update, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. To fully understand why this leaked contract clause has struck such a chord with fans, we need to step back and revisit the story of the Roloff family and their long-running show, Little People, Big World. The series first premiered on TLC in 2006, shining a spotlight on Matt and Amy Roloff, both little people, as they navigated parenthood, farm life, and the unique challenges that came with raising a family. At its heart, the show wasn't just about dwarfism. It was about resilience, love, and creating a home filled with laughter and hard work. Over the years, audiences got to know Matt and Amy's 4 children, twins Jeremy and Zach, their daughter Molly, and their youngest son Jacob. Each child brought something different to the series, but it was Zach, who shares his parents' dwarfism, who remained a central figure in the storyline as time went on. The Roloff family's 34-acre farm in Hillsboro, Oregon, became the backdrop for much of the drama, celebrations, and milestones viewers came to cherish. From pumpkin season traditions to weddings and family gatherings, the farm wasn't just a piece of land. It was a character in the show itself. For many fans, Roloff Farms symbolized the unity and endurance of the family through thick and thin. But as the years passed, the family dynamic shifted. Jeremy and Audrey moved away to pursue their own life path. Molly preferred to live quietly off camera. Jacob chose a more private existence, often voicing discomfort with the spotlight. That left Zach and his wife, Tori, as the main bridge between the original Roloff parents and the new generation of the family. This is where the grandchildren entered the picture, and everything changed. For fans, seeing the grandchildren grow up on screen felt like a gift. Jackson, Lilah, Josiah, and the other Roloff grandchildren weren't just kids. They represented the continuation of the legacy that viewers had followed for nearly 2 decades. Every milestone, Jackson's surgeries, Lilah's first steps, birthday celebrations, school updates, became part of the emotional heartbeat of the show. Audiences became deeply attached to these little ones, not just because they were adorable, but because they symbolized the future of Little People, Big World. With Matt and Amy now older and the original Roloff siblings largely absent from filming, the grandchildren became the reason many fans kept tuning in. Viewers weren't just watching a show anymore. They were invested in the generational story. The grandchildren represented hope, change, and the next chapter of the Roloff legacy. Fans saw them as the natural heirs to the family's traditions, the farm's history, and the storytelling that made Little People, Big World so beloved. That's exactly why this leaked contract clause feels so unsettling. It doesn't just affect business or production. It directly impacts the children, the very future of the show, and the emotional connection fans feel to the Roloff story. The moment fans learned about this leaked contract, the entire Little People, Big World community went into a frenzy. It wasn't just a small rumor or a harmless document. It was something deeply personal, something that touched the Roloff grandchildren directly. According to online chatter, the leak came from someone allegedly connected to the production side of the show. While no one knows for certain who exposed it, fans have speculated it may have been a former crew member or even a family acquaintance who felt the public had a right to know. The contract reportedly outlined specific terms about the involvement of the Roloff grandchildren in future filming. And here's where it gets controversial. The clause allegedly gave producers a say in the children's appearances, including how much screen time they receive and under what circumstances they can be filmed. For many fans, this crossed a line. It wasn't just about television anymore, it was about the kids, their childhoods, and their ability to live private lives outside of the cameras. What shocked fans most was how binding the language of the clause appeared to be. It didn't just affect Zach and Tori's kids, or Jeremy and Audrey's little ones. It seemed to extend to all the grandchildren of Matt and Amy Roloff. The idea that an entertainment contract might dictate elements of the grandkids' upbringing struck many viewers as heartbreaking. After all, these children didn't sign up for fame. They were born into it. For Zach and Tori, who have been vocal in the past about setting boundaries for their children, this revelation felt particularly heavy. Many fans wondered whether this was one of the driving forces behind their decision to step back from Little People, Big World. If the leaked clause is authentic, it might explain the tension Zach and Tori have shown toward TLC and even toward Matt when it comes to the farm and filming. Jeremy and Audrey, who left the show years earlier, suddenly looked like they had made the right decision in the eyes of fans. Their choice to protect their children from the spotlight may have been motivated by concerns just like this one. The leaked contract brought their exit back into the spotlight, painting them as parents who wanted control over their kids' lives, rather than leaving those decisions to a production company. Other family members, too, were caught in the speculation. Could this clause have been something TLC insisted upon to maintain control over storylines involving the next generation of Roloffs? Or, as some theorize, was it Matt himself, still the central figure of the show, who supported the clause to ensure the future of Little People, Big World? This possibility divided fans. Some defended Matt, saying he was only trying to protect the legacy of the show. Others criticized him, arguing that no legacy should come before the well-being and freedom of his grandchildren. The emotional weight of this leak cannot be overstated. For longtime fans, it shattered the wholesome, family-centered image of the show and raised serious ethical questions about reality TV. Should children be bound by contracts they never agreed to? Should parents have to navigate legal language just to safeguard their kids' privacy? These are the questions echoing across fan forums, Facebook groups, and Reddit threads. And with the clause now out in the open, the debate is only getting louder. The leaked contract hasn't just sparked headlines, it's ignited a firestorm across social media. Fans of Little People, Big World have taken to platforms like Instagram and Facebook to voice their opinions, with many calling the clause not only exploitative but downright heartbreaking. For viewers who have followed the Roloffs for nearly 2 decades, the idea of the grandchildren being written into a legal contract feels deeply unsettling. Comments like, "These kids never chose the spotlight. Why are they being treated like products? And this goes beyond reality TV. This is crossing a line," are echoing across online communities. But it isn't just outrage. Some fans express sorrow, noting that the grandchildren, Jackson, Lilah, Josiah, Ember, Bode, Radley, and even baby Mateo, are too young to understand what this means. The phrase "childhood for sale" has appeared in multiple threads, capturing the uncomfortable tension between TLC's business model and the Roloff family's legacy. So, how do Zach and Tori feel? Sources close to the couple suggest they've long had reservations about the show's direction, especially regarding their children. Tori has spoken openly before about wanting to protect her kids' privacy, and Zach has been vocal about disagreements with his father, Matt, over the farm and the family brand. The leaked clause only reinforces their fears that the children are being used more as assets than family members. This could explain why Zach and Tori have distanced themselves from filming in recent years, focusing more on their own projects and social media presence, where they can control the narrative. On the other side, Amy and Matt appear to embody very different perspectives. Matt, ever the businessman, has often framed the farm and the show as opportunities, not just for himself, but for future generations. To him, the clause may look like a safeguard, a way to keep the Roloff name central to TLC's storytelling. Amy, however, has historically voiced concerns about family being overshadowed by contracts and deals. She's the one who most often reminds the public, and her kids, that family should come first. If the leaked clause is real, it could widen that old rift between Amy's family-first values and Matt's business-driven mindset. Then there's the question of sibling fallout. The Roloff kids, Zach, Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob, have all taken different paths since the show began. Jeremy and Audrey walked away from LPBW to pursue their own ventures, including books and podcasts, partly because they didn't want their kids bound by the pressures of reality TV. Jacob, the youngest, has been the most outspoken, repeatedly criticizing the show's exploitation of children and vowing never to let his son be filmed. Molly, who lives a quieter, more private life, seems far removed from the drama, but has quietly aligned herself with Jacob's stance. This leaked clause could throw gasoline on old sibling rivalries. Zach, still somewhat tied to the show, may feel stuck between honoring his parents' legacy and protecting his kids. Jeremy could see this as validation of his decision to walk away, strengthening the divide between him and Zach. Jacob's criticisms gain new credibility, potentially putting pressure on his siblings to rethink their involvement. And Molly, though private, may feel vindicated in staying far away from both the farm and the spotlight. Ultimately, this is about more than just a contract. It's about how a family fractured by fame, business, and differing values continues to navigate life under the microscope. Fans aren't just watching a TV show anymore. They're watching a family unravel in real time. When we step back and look at this leaked contract clause, it's about more than just the Roloff family. It raises a much larger question about the future of Little People, Big World, and, in fact, the entire reality television industry. For years, fans have tuned in to watch the Roloffs grow up before their eyes, from Matt and Amy's marriage struggles, to the kids starting their own families, and now the focus on the next generation. But with this clause, TLC seems to be sending a clear message. The grandchildren are no longer just beloved members of the family. They are considered essential assets for keeping the show alive. This sparks a tough ethical debate. Should children be locked into contracts for television exposure before they're old enough to understand what it means? On one hand, the show's success has always come from giving viewers an authentic window into family life, and the grandkids are naturally part of that story. On the other hand, these are real children who never signed up for stardom themselves and whose privacy and autonomy are at risk. The very fact that fans are calling the clause heartbreaking shows that audiences are growing more sensitive to the question of children on reality TV. And this isn't an isolated issue. We've seen similar debates play out in other famous reality TV families. Think about the Gossellans from John and Kate Plus 8, or even the Duggars from 19 Kids and Counting. In both cases, there were ongoing conversations about whether the children were being fairly compensated, or whether they were being exploited for the sake of ratings. Even in shows like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, there were questions about how much control kids like Northwest or Mason Disick should have over their presence on screen. The Roloffs are now at the center of this same controversy, and it's forcing fans and producers alike to ask, is this just family storytelling, or is it commodification? The bigger picture also points to the future of Little People, Big World. Will this clause actually keep the show alive by guaranteeing the next generation stays in front of the cameras? Or could it backfire, pushing family members like Zach and Tori further away from TLC if they feel their children are being treated like bargaining chips? There's a genuine possibility that this controversy could mark the beginning of the show's decline. After all, if the central family is divided over their children's participation, how sustainable is the series long-term? On the flip side, controversy has always been a driving force in reality TV. Some industry insiders believe this clause and the debate surrounding it might actually fuel another wave of viewership. Audiences who are outraged or simply curious might tune in to see how the Roloff grandchildren are featured and how the family navigates these tensions. In that sense, This could be the dramatic continuation of LPBW, rather than its downfall. Ultimately, what we're seeing is a crossroads moment. Little People, Big World has been on air for nearly 2 decades, and its future may depend on how the Roloffs and TLC handle this very sensitive issue. Whether it ends in a quiet decline or in a fiery resurgence fueled by family conflict and fan backlash, one thing is certain. This leaked clause has forever changed the way fans view the show and the Roloff legacy. As we reach the end of this deep dive, it's clear why the leaked contract clause has caused such an uproar. At its heart, the clause ties the Roloff grandchildren, innocent, growing kids, to the long-running legacy of Little People, Big World in ways many fans feel are restrictive and unfair. The revelation shook viewers because it wasn't just about television, it was about childhood, family, and whether these kids truly have a choice in the matter. For the Roloff grandchildren, the emotional impact is undeniable. Fans worry that their lives are being shaped more by legal documents than by natural family milestones. The Roloff children have always been at the heart of the show's future, but this clause has made viewers stop and ask, at what cost? For Zach, Tori, Jeremy, Audrey, Amy, Matt, and the rest of the family, the clause could represent another turning point, another reason to reflect on where the line between family and business should be drawn. The Roloffs have weathered divorces, farm disputes, and generational disagreements, but this controversy may be one of the most defining moments yet. As for TLC, the future of Little People, Big World now feels more uncertain than ever. Will the network adjust its approach to protect the kids? Or will the Roloffs themselves decide that this chapter of reality TV has gone too far? Either way, the coming months will tell us a lot about the direction of the show and the legacy of this unique family. And finally, thank you for joining us on this emotional journey through one of the most shocking revelations in the Roloff story. Whether you've been following the family since the beginning or you've only recently discovered their world, your support, curiosity, and compassion are what keep these stories alive.